Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball. The championship series are set. Mets, Dodgers, Yankees, Guard Dogs. Let's talk all about it. All about it. Oh.
Michael Kopech.
Trey Sweeney.
It's too tall.
He's young. He's young. Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek, code JOHNBOY Playoffs 10. Get yourself some tickets to go see the Championship League Series or maybe the World Series, where two of these teams will be going soon. Jake Storielli joined by Trevor Plouffe and Zach Esposito producing out of the bullpen. BBD's at some, I don't know, he said modern kind of party or something, or
soiree of sorts.
I don't know. I won't say anyone.
Wait, BBD's at a party?
Well, I think BBD's at a party. Zach's going to a party after this. I don't know. I didn't get the invite. It's interesting. Because we're in the lab, Trev. You know, no rest for you. You were watching tape the past couple nights from everything I saw. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm actually happy to be back in studio. You know, we can work from wherever we want to work, but there's nothing like being in Magnum Condom studio and talking ball with you two guys, especially Zach making the guest appearance.
Thank you.
We do have some fun stuff to talk about. We haven't been able to talk about Dodgers Padres. Obviously now Cleveland taking care of Detroit, so we'll get into little ALCS, NLCS previews. This is such a fun time of year, Pop, man. You know what? I don't know if we got to say this. It was your birthday yesterday. 35.
Nice. Great.
Johnny 5 is alive. What's that movie called? I don't know.
I don't know what that is. 30 fine. I've heard people say that. Hope the next 35 are better. Sorry. That was dramatic. A lot of well wishes yesterday from the Talkin Baseball community. Thank you guys. But I'm here to talk ball at this point, you know? I think we'll start with our NL brethren in the Plouffe Bowl. And I think people know who won, San Diego and LA, but let's recap that a little bit, and then we'll tee up the NLCS. Do or die, Game 5. America's pastime is starting to be pastime as Yoshinobu Yamamoto and the Dodgers are fucking with you as Darvish and the Padres. Both pitchers were sharp. Kike, do you love me? Are you riding? Solo homer, 1-0 lead. Trev's Drake is out, my bad. Yami was yummy. 5 innings pitched, shut piece. And the whirling dervish was incredible too, but 2 mistakes too many. Teoscar gets grouchy. 2-0 Dodgers as they'd remain monsters for San Diego as the Hernandez brothers murder their fathers. Yamamoto to Phillips to Vesia to Kopech to Trinan. LA takes the series 3-2.
You had to use it.
Ask and you shall receive. Trevi Napa was texting me last night, and he was like, dead fathers. And I was like, whoa. Hey, man, wrong number, dude.
It's kind of what it was.
But it was. Man, it was tough. We did a live stream like we're doing all playoffs long. If you haven't checked them out yet, you should. JM Baseball. For the upcoming Dodger Mets series, along with Shea Station. I think Jolly will be doing his own thing a little bit. Or not sure exactly how we're doing that. And then for the Yankees streams, check out the Talkin' Yanks stream. Even if you're not a Yankees person, it's pretty wild in there. But we watched this game with Padres superfan Ryan Cohen, and he was broken, man. And I didn't fully process it at first. Like, obviously, it's the end of your season. You were up 2-1. And then it really sank in, like, it was the Dodgers, dude. That's, I like putting myself in other people's shoes, and that would be being up 2-1 on the Red Sox. And then they come and take away your whole summer, your whole spring, all in one fell swoop. And the offense shut down, Trevor.
24 straight scoreless innings by the Dodgers. And there's a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, has anyone checked on Ryan today?
No.
Yeah, we might need to. He's getting dunked on online as well.
Yeah.
There's a video circulating by somebody that's a Dodgers writer out there. It shows the video of him celebrating Tatis's homer against Buehler.
Mm.
And I believe that was the last run they scored.
Yeah.
All series. We're talking about a vaunted Padres offense with superstars at the top, guys that were getting it done down below as well. Like they had a long lineup. Like remember what Higgy was doing at the bottom lineup early on in the playoffs, and it all went cold. And you can tip your cap to the Dodgers pitchers and the way Dave Roberts maneuvered the bullpen. But at the end of the day, 24 innings without scoring a run it's nuts. I mean, that's just Tatis called it bad timing. I mean, it's about as bad a timing as you can get, and it's actually like kind of incredible that happened. Like what?
Yeah,
even Cleveland and Detroit they're scoring. Those are not offensively, juggernaut teams, and they're hitting homers against Clase and the ends of the bullpen. Like they're getting it done on their end, but then you look at the Padres and they didn't score a run again for 24 straight innings. 2 hits in the final game, Jake.
One of them was Higgy too. Yeah, when a streak gets that ugly, there's a lot of way to chop up the numbers. The Padres played on Friday night. They hadn't scored a run since Tuesday. Trev, I don't know if I add it to my analytics binder. God, that 8-0 game before that. And you see a lot of those same bullpen guys that you're like, hey, maybe we can bring that. And they actually got a lot of hits against those bullpen guys in that game. They just didn't score the run. Trev, this was a Padres team that was built on contact. Like when Arise was available, they went out and got him. They have a lot of hitters in their lineup. Sure, they got the, Tatis, Machado, like they're just all around great players, but whether it's Cronenworth or Bogarts, Jackson Merrill, Solano when he starts, like this is a team that I was excited for them because I think contact is a good thing in baseball. And I think, Dodgers bullpen deserves a lot of credit. That was my little Jakey asterisk coming into this series. Like, yeah, their starting pitcher might be a little thin, but they have a bullpen of dudes that have pitched in big games, and they did that the final 2 games. I think, and this is bad analysis, but good analysis. I think the lead being 1-0 for so long was actually worse for the Padres because I think they got away from their approach. I think they were trying to hit the game-tying solo homer. And, hey, that's easy to say on my end, but Ryan Cohen, and he was texting with his mom, who I guess also Padres super fan, they were saying, like, this isn't the Padres team we've watched all year. It wasn't the gritty at bats. It wasn't slap one the other way. Like, I think there's a lot of guys in that lineup who had great seasons, and they were trying to be the guy to get that 0 off the board after 24 innings, and they tried to not do it in Padre fashion.
I mean, that's what it does to you. I mean, it gets in your mind like that. We haven't scored. We haven't been able to string together the hit. So, hey, let me go take a shot, and then you just kind of get out of your game plan like you're talking about. It's exactly what happened. Not only the bullpen deserves credit for the Dodgers, but Yamamoto coming back and making a start like that against a team that got to him earlier on in the series. And they talked about maybe he tipped his pitches. Dave Roberts said that in a post-game interview. And whatever he was doing, obviously he cleaned it up and put them, in a position to only have to cover 4 innings. And that was all that they needed. And you're right. Like, as much as we talk about all these teams, we said this from the outset of the playoffs, the Tigers, the Mets, the Padres, all these teams that didn't start off well, but got hot. And they always had the best record since. The Dodgers have just been there all season long. And when their backs were up against the wall, a couple, tough games for them, just getting beat down, it looked like they weren't going to have enough starting pitching to get through. They were going to have to outslug San Diego. All of a sudden, they throw together 24 scoreless innings. They hit when they need to hit. Kike Hernandez comes in, hits a big homer against you, Darvish, to put him up. And then your guy, Teoscar, man, has been an absolute star of the playoffs. Right now, 333 with a one daughter in the series. Big homer there. He's feeling great. I mean, this is just a good team, dude. It's a really, really good team. Kopech got some matchups that I wanted him to get, and he got through them. He looks like a dog. Shohei wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't that big of a factor, and they still got through this series. I mean, they were able to neutralize Shohei with, that bullpen. Whether it be, Tanner Scott got him, I think, 3 times.
Yeah.
But here the Dodgers are moving on. I think it's going to be one hell of a series, man. Mets and Dodgers is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think final goodbyes to San Diego. They had their best shot, top of the third. Higgy gets a single. Arise gets a single. It's Fernando. It's second time through the lineup. Yamamoto has horrible season numbers against the Padres, mostly from that first start of the season in Korea where he threw 1 inning. And Tatis, double play ball. He got 1 strike before that. It was a curve that had a lot of plate, and I don't know. You can question every pitch this postseason, and we'll get there with Lane Thomas and even going back to Bo Brisky the game before. But yeah, I think that's it for San Diego. Sadly, their offense just fully turned off for 2.5 games, and the credit should go to the Dodgers pitching. Kike Hernandez, I think the stat that Dalton was dropping, I think in the past 4 or 5 years, he has the second highest playoffs OPS. Kike Hernandez. So
been hitting a lot of homers, dude.
Whatever that is. And my God, Kike, I don't know what he's listed at. Actually, very interested. Kike pissed on that ball. Yeah. That was where we were sitting during the home run derby out there, and that's big boy area. What do you think Kike's listed at?
Kike's probably listed at 6 foot 183.
5'11", 195. So I'll go 5'10", 9, 180. But he got all of that ball, and he's been a part of so many of these Dodgers teams. I mean, he goes back to Dodgers 2015. Crazy enough. The other thing, and this is salty, and this is talking baseball, and Mariners fans, you're probably just trying to enjoy your day, but I'm glad you guys didn't have to see Teoscar strike out again this year, because here he is, and he's about to get another bag.
That's brutal, bro.
Dude, he's a guy.
I know he's a guy.
There are hitters who are constant threats. Giancarlo Stanton, even if he's in a funk, he's a constant threat. Teoscar Hernandez,
he's awesome, man. He's been great.
Always a threat. Yamamoto, that Dodgers bullpen, and it sets up, Trev, the New York Mets head into L.A. to face the Los Angeles Dodgers, the 6-seed Mets, the only not 1 or 2 seed remaining in the postseason, so maybe everyone's playoff format tweets have to wait for another time. We'll see. The New York Mets going to face LA. It starts tomorrow night, Sunday, October 13th, 8:15. Again, we'll be live streaming that. The Dodgers won the season series this year, 4-2. The Mets took 2 out of 3 in LA in April. Trev's going to deep dive into that series because that still matters. And then I'll deep dive into the sweep in May that the Dodgers had. A little doubleheader sweep in there. Won a 10-inning.
You can remember that one. That was the low point of the Mets season. It was the Jorge Lopez threw his glove into the stands. He had some possibly lost in translation quotes after the game. But then he kind of doubled down on the quotes, but then he didn't double down. Then he released a statement. Then he got released. It was, at that time, an absolute mess for the New York Mets. An absolute disaster. And then, here we are, dude.
Yeah. The Mets, after that point, 67-40, which is a really good baseball record. These teams have met in the playoffs. Last time they met, 2015, the NLDS, Mets 1-5. Not a lot of players remaining from that. The last time these two met in the championship series, 1988, Dodgers 1-7. Not a lot of players left from that series either. Trev, this is the part of the postseason we end up laughing at our own analysis sometimes because a lot of stuff is out the window at this point. I mean, for me, I guess it does start with the starting pitching because I do think we've hit that part of the postseason where, the Tigers were scraping by with one starter and a bunch of relievers. The Dodgers are leaning heavy on the relief pitching, while the Mets are sitting here with kind of their 4, if not 5 in a rotation, if you count David Peterson, who's been swinging around for them. I guess with that, is that where you want to go or you want to go somewhere else?
No, I mean, I think the matchups are interesting in this series. I think you have to lean starting pitching going to the Mets just because they have, first of all, they're rested. They're able to line up the rotation for what they want. So it's most likely going to be Senga, Manaya, and then Quintana, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
or Sevy, and then Quintana.
Sevy and Quintana, you'd think. Again, they have some. The Mets have flexibility. If they want to do funny business with Peterson, or even Sevy has a really good bullpen history that if, I don't know, the Mets have some creative options, or they could not be, and they have 4 starters kind of ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, and then the Dodgers are going to be rolling out Jack Buehler, who settled down a little bit after giving up that big second inning to the San Diego Padres. I think he might be like a key to victory for the Dodgers. Like if he can give them some innings, because you mentioned the Dodgers did lean heavily on their bullpen in this series against the Padres. They're going to have to do it again, but 7 games is a lot different, dude. We kind of just saw it, we'll get to the Cleveland and Detroit series, but both those teams use their bullpens a lot. And the more times you see a guy, as nasty as he can be, like you're just gaining information. So the Dodgers don't want, to show their hand, so much in this series. And if Walker Buehler can give them these, a couple decent starts here, that's going to change the trajectory of the series, in my opinion. I think Yamamoto's going to be fine. I think Flaherty's going to be fine. Really, then it's, can Walker Buehler come out there and give you something? I still lean Mets with the starting pitching just because they have more bodies and they're rested, and the way they've been pitching, it's been great. Their starters have been incredible. So I would lean starters for the Mets. As far as bullpen goes, I think the Mets have enough to get the job done, especially because we mentioned they do have traditional starters, so they don't have to lean as heavily on the bullpen. But I think you have to go lean the Dodgers here with some of the high leverage guys that they have.
Yeah, I mean, where Blake Trinan, go look at some of his best seasons and the way he's throwing the ball right now. With Kopech, Phillips, I mean, he was kind of their closer for a while, and now he's almost feels like their fireman, and like that we've seen that role in the playoffs. 5th inning, if the top of the lineups again, you kind of need that guy to go get them. It's interesting. Like, let's see where Edwin Diaz is at. Like, this is the first series he's coming into not having to have, put the team on his back for 40 pitches in a game before that. So maybe he can be back to being normal. And that Mets bullpen hasn't been, I don't want to say problematic. Like, they've played in a lot of big games down the stretch here, but Diaz is Diaz, Budo. Maton got that one game, but he's been solid otherwise. Garrett, Stanek, and then Peterson. Like they have options to go down there too. I think the question for me in this series is going to be how deep can the Mets lineup be? And one of the other storylines that's forming is Jeff McNeil is trying to battle back. I think he was playing in an Arizona Fall League game today to get some live at bats to try to make the roster. So we're still waiting to get the update on that because they are very righty heavy right now. So, even if he's not 100%, you wonder if they need that, for a potential pitch hit or for a potential, just to add a little more left-right to the lineup. But yeah, I think this Mets team, when they started fully clicking down the stretch, obviously Lindor being an MVP, but the depth of their lineup is kind of what made this team hit another gear. And it's kind of going to be the same thing for the Dodgers with Miggy Rojas presumed to be out for this series. Is Tommy Edman going to shortstop, and does Kike get the first draw? I mean, it's hilarious that the Dodgers, and we can just get the tape of us talking in 2018, like, all right, well, they throw Kike and Chris Taylor in there, like it's the same flexibility Dodgers at the second half of their lineup.
Yeah, the bottom half of the Mets lineup was cold in the last series, and so they definitely need to elongate and get better. And I think, yeah, you're right. I think both these lineups, to a degree, can feel top heavy, but when you really start to break it down, I mean, these are a couple of the longer lineups in baseball. Nobody except for the Baltimore Orioles in the month of May had a really true 1 through 9. Do you remember that when we were talking about how deep that lineup was? 1 through 9. Oh my gosh. Look at their Norfolk team. Where did that go?
Norfolk. It stayed there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think what else? Like what else is gonna matter in this series? I think Shohei needs to be a little bit better. He got beat by a lot of good pitchers against San Diego. We saw him up in some situations. Obviously, he got to cease in game 1. That was a beautiful thing for the Dodgers. Other than that, he was kind of neutralized. We'll see, let's see if some of the lefties that the Mets have, and, Minaya, Quintana, and the guys in the pen, if they look to see, okay, this is what they did against Shohei. Top of the zone, heaters, kind of like getting him uncomfortable up there and soft stuff away. It seems to me like Shohei is going to figure it out, but if there is some sort of recipe, the Mets are going to try to find it. And, are they going to... I don't think they can say, hey, let's let Mookie beat us, because Mookie was a dog in that series and he's coming in hot. So that's going to be, to me, how do you navigate that top of the lineup? And is Freddie going to be... How is he feeling?
Right.
That's massive for the Dodgers.
What version of Freddie Freeman are you getting? He still feels like he's Freddie Freeman at the plate. And man, you saw. I was laughing. I think Profar busted out a bunt late in the Padres game, looking to get something done, and I was kind of like, "What was that?" And then I remembered Freddie's limping around at first, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, that's that good messed up Dodgers Padres playoff ball, right? We're playing a win." And hey. David, I was just going to say Shohei Ohtani, very excited to not see Tanner Scott again. You wonder if
Tanner Scott a free agent?
I think so. I think that's going to be, we gave our snaps to the Padres for going out at this deadline. They traded capital for guys that we might be doing some, remember this trade in 5 years? I'll be dead. David Peterson, Zach didn't like that. David Peterson, very good against lefties this year. So you wonder if they've got those other 4 that you like as starters. Could David Peterson be their Shohei Freddie guy? Hey, David Peterson, great year, dude. Yeah, we're trying to win the championship series. Why don't you go out and get Shohei and Freddie every night? God damn. Another thing to watch out for the Dodgers. Last time we saw Vesia, who had good for them this year. And throughout some of the past couple years, we saw him leave the mound injured, which would leave Banda as the only lefty out of their pen, which that's obviously going to be something they'll have to navigate. Anything else here, Coach Trev?
I'm ready to get this thing started, man. This is a matchup that I think a lot of people wanted. I think if you're the commissioner of baseball, you're very happy that how the NL has played out. I know a lot of Talking Baseball fans don't want to hear that, but you have a New York team and an LA team getting to the World Series. That's Commissioner Rob Manfred's dream. So, I don't know. We don't have to have big time, big city matchups, big market matchups, but when you get them, feels like a heavyweight bout. I mean, I know some people are trying to, pose this as, these chippy underdog Mets, but they have a higher payroll than the Dodgers, and their owner's the richest owner in all of sports. And this is not David and Goliath, dude. This is I know the Mets started off poorly, but again, they've had the best record in baseball since May 29th. And this is two heavyweights going at it. And I think we're gonna get that. I think the feel is gonna be there. I want both these teams. I don't want any 24 inning scoreless streaks. I want these teams to, trade and go blow for blows. I think we have the potential here for like a really, really good series.
Just don't say blow to blow. It's Zach producing today. Because
I know.
Yeah.
I wasn't aged up when I came into this episode.
Starting to come. We will see you guys streaming that game tomorrow night.
I'm going to try to go to game 2. I have one more thing I want to talk about.
Sure.
I was watching people obviously who watched the show knew I was gone. I was in Napa for a couple of days.
Oh, wow.
And had my phone. We're sitting outside by this fire pit watching the game, and I see this couple, and they have Jake Cronenworth jerseys on. And we're like, hey, like where in Yountville can we go watch this game? Right. I have it on my phone. Like, it's not a place where there's not like sports bars. Yeah. And I'm like, where are you guys going to watch it? And they said, our room. You want to come? We didn't. But think about that. Think about the visual there. A couple in their Jake Cronenworth jerseys. They came down to the bar to get a drink, straight back up to the room with their jerseys on, just going to watch the game in the room.
Love that.
That's strange.
That's baseball, bro. And that's Padre fans, I feel bad. This was, this team had some real chance, as good of a chance as anyone else left in the playoffs.
And they just went ice cold, Jake.
Cooler than being cool.
That's got to feel so weird, man. The highs that they were flying, dude.
Dude,
at the beginning of that series.
You're up 2-1, and Dodgers they don't have starting pitching, and here we go. Joe Musgrove getting hurt. That was a sneaky, massive loss for them. But at the same time, Joe Musgrove, he don't swing the bat. All the guys that do were out there. So, congrats to the Dodgers. Congrats to the Mets. I'll just say this big market can be good for baseball. And one of the NL teams will be. And Guardian fans, you're not going to like hearing from me probably the rest of the week and a half. Yeah, so I'm sorry to put that on you. Great historic baseball city. How about this? They're going to like this part because I think we got to go through that Guardians Tigers game that just happened as we're recording this. And before I do the burn of that game, a couple John Boy Media ads. Go check out our merch store, shop.johnboymedia.com. Also, we have a website now. Pretty hilarious throughout the run of this company that we didn't. Go check it out. There's a lot of good stuff there. There is some paywall stuff where we're putting some bonus content and stuff. If you're into that and you want it, cool. If not, I respect your game. But go check all of that out. And the bigger thing, when this baseball season's winding down and you're looking for sports, November 4th, the Warehouse Games channel, Blitzball Battle 5. It's one of the most fun, just best overall things we do at this company. You might have seen it on Bally Sports recently. Whoops. And it's amazing content. Trevor's in it. I'm in it. The Jombino. And a lot other, John Boy Media content.
Social media
people.
Superstar Nikki Katz.
Dalton Feely, who produces the beautiful stats for this. No Vinny Rotino, new teammate for Trev this year.
Every year.
Hey, no joke, people. If you haven't given it a shot and you're like, hey, Jake, I like you, pal, but I don't think I need to watch you play blitzball in a warehouse. Go check out.
Yeah, give it a shot.
It's incredible content. It used to be my favorite thing going to the stadium, and people would be like, it'd be like middle-aged guys, and they'd be like, I got sucked into your blitzball stuff. It's pretty good. And they'd be like a little embarrassed. They're like, I can't believe I love this content, but I really do. So that first episode of that comes out November 4th, and then it'll be the whole tournament. So every couple days the rest of the way. Let's do Tigers Guardians Game 5. Game 5 in Believeland does Matt would start a bullpen day against Cy Young Tarek Jeter Skubal, hoping to become a postseason hero. Like my college years were scoreless through the first 4. Kerry Bonds, the Carpenter hammers one, a limping RBI single off the wall. It's 1-0 Tigers. Would that be enough for Skubal? Jose gets rammed by a fastball with the bases loaded. It's a tie game. What do you call a Skubal diver getting hit by a train? a grand slam. Lane Thomas dating daughters in the land. It's 5-1 guards, but these kiddies are still scratching. Mr. Rogers puts one in the neighborhood, and Colt 45 Keith shoots one. But like Cousins would say, all class. Class A shuts the door. The Guard Dogs, they win the series as they take the final game 7-3.
This is a good one. This is a good one. This series was really good. It lived up to it, man.
This was a good series. Our socials team was gossiping out there today, and they were like, "Was this the best division series?" And it's, head tilt as we do our big market good stuff. That baseball wise, by the end of it, maybe like Dodgers Padres fireworks at first, but with the Padres turning off, man, you go, Trev. Cook.
First of all, I was hoping we were going to get a Kerry Carpenter, Kirk Gibson moment. We got a little bit more than that. He ended up playing the rest of the game. He got 3 at-bats. So it wasn't like, hey, pinch hit in the 9th. I don't know how his hamstring's doing. I know he couldn't run, but he puts them up there in the 5th inning. I thought that was a really cool moment. I wasn't sure what they were going to do, if he was going to come out at that point, but I guess it didn't make sense. Ends up getting, he gets the matchup again later on in the game against Clase, which is fun to see. And Clase was very happy to get him out. And then it was, Scoob's got a little squirrely there, and Lane Thomas comes up, and I felt like everybody in the stadium knew he was swinging first pitch. And Scoob's he had one down in the zone where guys can catch up to that heater. When he's living at the top of the strike zone, I mean, not many guys are gonna be able to get the barrel on the ball, but Thomas had him. He had him timed up. He got the pitch exactly where he needed it to, and that was. That's the biggest swing as you can have, man. With that bullpen, when you go up 4 runs, that most likely you're going to win the game. Now, the Detroit battled back and had some shots there, but think about like the big homers we had in this series. We had the first game, it was David Fry in the first inning. Then it was Kerry Carpenter, and then it was David Fry again in Detroit?
David Fry in Detroit.
Series almost over.
Yeah.
And then here comes Lane Thomas doing it. And a team that we talked about, having to string together hits, having to, run the bases the right way and take the extra 90 feet. And all of a sudden we're talking about who's coming up big with the big, power stroke. And it was Lane Thomas today. And it was a beautiful thing, man. It was awesome.
Yeah. I'll stay in this game because I have some bigger picture thoughts, but first inning, Matt Boyd, how are you? First pitch hits the batter. Hello, big game feels. Strikes out your guy Vierling, who had a tough day today. Some tough at-bats from Matty V. But then Riley Green walks. So we've got 2 runners on first inning with the bad man on the mound for Detroit. And Matt Boyd locks in, and he strikes out Ibanez, who's in there for verse lefty. And then he strikes out Wenceel Perez, who had a couple tough ones today, too. The other one, Parker Meadows, gets a double in the second, and they can't do much. Trey Sidney Sweeney had some tough at-bats throughout these playoffs. And then, if you told Detroit fans at the start of today, I'll get you 3 runs, a lot of them would have signed up for it. And, hey, I was questioning myself on that. The Vegas over-under in this game was 5.5 runs, so that would tell you that's kind of what they thought. And dude, we've started keeping track of this stat, and I'm glad because it matters. The Tigers score on that Carpenter ball, which also, by the way, there's no outs when he hits that, and if he catches that a little differently, could it get out of the park, whatever. Vierling strikeout double play ball. Dude, the answer back innings are significant, and it's more than just vibes, dude. Like there's something to them. So that 5th inning where Detroit gets a 1-run lead, where Cleveland fans are probably looking around like, I really hope that's enough. They watched last night's game. Hope they did. With San Diego, that Jimenez with that leadoff single after you just gave up the lead was so massive. And then it's the top of the line, and then baseball kicks in a little bit. Quan is one of the best players in this league. Our guy Tech Mike, who is new to baseball this year, just says how sharp Stephen Quan is, and that's a great way to describe it. Like, he does everything like almost perfectly. David Fry having a postseason and a first half of the season from above, like infield single, and then the hit by pitch, and you're going, okay, so there's the one. We still got a couple outs to play with, and then Lane Thomas. I mean, it feels rude to say essentially ended the game, especially with the Tigers bouncing back that next inning, and putting Gaddis in a tough spot against Kerry Carpenter with the bases loaded. But he gets him. Carpenter, that third pitch, he got one. Fastball had a lot of plate that, what would we be talking about? We're talking about the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, we keep kind of jumping all over the place, but earlier in the game, Riley Green zoos that ball down the left field line, and Skubal has no problem getting out of that inning. Just reaching back, finding 100 in his pocket, mows everyone down. And, when it is 1-1 and Lane Thomas steps up, like, I kind of had the feeling, hey, it's going to be the same thing. Like, he's going to figure this out. But again, it was just, if you go look at the location of the pitch, it was middle, down where he could handle it. And it was, I mean, I don't know, man. A series of big homers for the Cleveland Guardians is not what I had, going in to this series, and they did it, dude. And I think the game did feel over. Like I said, I know that the Tigers came back and had their shot, and it just felt like that was enough, and they were just going to have to hold on. The bullpen was going to have to work. I will say, like we were talking about with the Dodgers and the Padres, or Dodgers and the Mets series, these guys saw so much of each other's bullpens right there. It didn't feel as dominant as it did early on. So, I don't know, man. They put together some good at bats, and now it's just, you look at Cleveland, you understand, where their deficiencies are, but they also play like such a fun brand of baseball. And when they do get some timely hitting like that, I mean, this has happened all year long with them, Jake. It's like every time we would do a recap episode, we talk about the Cleveland Guardians. They win 2 out of 3, and David Fry would have a home run, or Brian Rocchio would have a big day, or Andres Jimenez would do it. It's like somebody stepped up all throughout the season, and it was, again, the same recipe in this series. A couple guys step up here, our pitching does their thing, we play some good defense, and now we're going to the ALCS. They're a good baseball team with a good manager who's done a great job getting the matchups that he wants, and they're going to try to do the same thing against your Yankees.
Yeah, and I, kind of putting a bow on this. Tigers, I mean, hey, I know you guys are still sad, and that's okay. But my God, to get to this point of the season, like insanity, there's so much young talent. You feel like you got something to kind of build upon now. And I think they lost this game in Game 4, like the Bo Brisky, David Fry. And that's, Hinch in this pitching chaos. I said, in hindsight, should that have been Vest? He's been their guy this year, or this postseason. That when they get clipped, they've got that lead at home in Game 4. That's tough. That's tough. But with Skubal, it seemed like they still had it. Good on the Guardians. And you're right. And Trev, like they finished 12th in baseball in homers, 5th in baseball in steals, with obviously the best bullpen that they have their recipe, and it won out today. And two things that I feel happy about. Like, it felt rewarding that they had home field. It felt rewarding for the Dodgers that they had home field. And snaps for trade deadline, dude. Lane Thomas hits the huge homer in this game. Jack Flaherty is the remaining Dodgers starting pitcher. Jazz Chisholm starting a lot of stuff in that Yankee series. That was the first big picture item I want to start as we head into the series coming up. Yankees Guardians, like, trade deadline, that's good. Like, the Tigers did sell this year. I know it kind of worked, But I like teams adding players. The Dodgers, I mean, Tommy Edman, Kopech, I left guys out there. The other thing is the stars haven't necessarily shown fully yet. You mentioned Shohei, Judge, Jose Ramirez, that I feel like we're teeing up for the stars to come. Well, Frankie Lindor, Francisco,
he's been going.
excuse me, and Alonso. So maybe you can't say anything for the Mets. They are just.
I don't know if you consider Steven Kwan a star, but he had an incredible series, and he is a nuisance at the top of the lineup. And I can't wait for him to pester your Yanks. I cannot wait for that.
I think was it game 4 and 5? He got 3 hits in each of them. I mean, that's how you be a star. Let's head into it. Tigers, we'll talk about you this offseason. Was in the shower daydreaming of them trying to extend Scooble, but man, that price.
They struck out 16 times today.
That price point. Some good pitching out there. Hey, actually, there is a man who needs to be mentioned. Eli Morgan. Came in as the Cleveland was in their final bullpen juggle. Got Torkelson with a high and away changeup.
That backdoor changeup was filthy.
Backdoor high changeup. That's you don't
Torkelson's
do that.
like, what was that?
Yeah, he wanted to be more mad at himself because he struck out in a big spot, and he was just like, there's nothing I can do. You don't see that. And went seal again.
How about Brian Rocchio's series?
Brian
Rocchio, tell you guys about it.
Gets the insurance run. And, hey, another thing that if teams are watching, defense matters. Rocchio with a lot of plays at shortstop, like Jimenez, even some of the Colt Keith plays that got made earlier on, whatever. See ya, Tigers. The Guardians are heading to the Big Apple to face the New York Yankees, babe. Zach's New York Yankees. It starts Monday, October 14th, 7:37. Again, we'll be streaming on the Talkin Yanks channel. Yanks won the head-to-head series 4-2 this year. They also won a doubleheader, and then Cleveland walked them off in the next game. Couple extra inning games, and then that was in April. In August, they played. Cleveland won the first game in extras. A little disaster class by the Yanks there, and then the Yanks bounced back to beat them heavily in those next ones. These teams met in the 2022 ALDS. The Yanks won in 5. Josh Naylor kind of arrived on the scene, and he was rocking the baby and getting loud. Yankees bounced back to win that. Guardians, all this pitching and rotation questions we are asking, they they are in the thick of that.
Yes,
with their guy Tanner Bybee looking like we'll see, and then Matt Boyd and Alex Cobb with the bullpen. Cade Smith didn't get mentioned. He got mentioned previously, not today, but he broke the ALDS record for reliever strikeouts in a series. So, they have their version of pitching chaos that'll continue on. Where the Yanks have some stuff going on, Anthony Rizzo trying to make it back for the ALCS. Yankees deciding how many pitchers they want to bring. And a lot of eyeballs on the big fella, Aaron Judge, where the Yankees also, they can get funky with their pitching. With Rodon, didn't it look great last time? And I don't know if Garrett Cole pitched game 2. That's what I do know. Where do you want to go, Trev?
Garrett Cole game 2 and either Rodon or Clark Schmidt for game 1. That's the decision that Boone's going to have to make. So those guys will just flip depending on who starts game 1. The other will start game 3. And for Cleveland, as you mentioned, I think we always start with the starting pitching. We don't really know. We don't really know. Yeah. It could be Alex Cobb. It could be Tanner Bybee. He's most likely, I believe, going to start game 2. Is that correct?
Bybee is lined up for 2, I believe. Confirmed. It's not confirmed.
The order of Cobb, Boyd, and Bybee, we're not sure what that's going to be. We do know that the bullpen's going to be used a lot for them. So it'll be another series of vote, seeing how much you can get out of his starter, and then trying to win the matchup game. And I don't think this is going to be interesting because the Yankees are not a team that's going to try to mix and match too much with like pinch hitting Am I right about that?
No, the Yankees, I think the first time they used their bench in this series, I would believe was Game 5 to pinch run Duke Ellis for Giancarlo. I believe. I could have that wrong.
Yeah, so this will be an interesting one for a voter because he kind of knows what he's going to get. Against AJ Hinch, you're trying to stay 2 steps ahead, and you're trying to figure out what his move, what does that mean for later on the game, where are my lanes? And here he can kind of just sit down and say, this is what I'm up against. So here I'm going to deploy my guys this way. I think whereas he really had to earn his money in the series against Detroit, I think it'll be a little bit easier for him as far as game planning goes. Obviously, the guys still have to go out and do it, and they may put themselves in interesting positions. He may have to make moves early on, whatever it may be. But I think that's, at least a talking point where Vogt now, he doesn't have to try to stay ahead of anything. This is what it is. Come try to beat us. So that'll be an interesting thing to see. It'll kind of look like a different series. That's for sure.
Yes. And everything we've talked about this series with the bullpens, like you're going to be hitting the same buttons over and over that, we kind of haven't seen the, last year's playoffs. There was a lot of blowouts, like rest your bullpen, like don't show him that guy. Yankee fans were a little nervous, like that. It seemed they don't fully care about that. We saw Luke Weaver came into the game the Yankees lost to face Bobby Witt, and we kind of had this moment like, hey, don't
show him.
We might not need that. Unfortunately, Luke Weaver is just that guy, pal, as Reds and Diamondback fans are just stunned across the country. Sorry, guys. Yeah, hey, man, baseball, never actually happens this way. It comes down to the whole team, and this Eli Morgan today, Cleveland fans didn't have that on their bingo card. Big Aaron Judge, dude. It's, we found our way to butter knife stats in 2022. That team was a disaster by the time they really got into the postseason. And it was you could put some asterisks there. I mean, now's the time. And he ran into a couple at the end of the last series. You could say a lot of this with Jose Ramirez too. But he gonna be there. Big Aaron Judge, you gotta be there. The team feeds off of it, and you can't have this become a New York storyline. New York likes to get a little extra loud, especially if it can be a little angry. And the big fella's got to do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what are the keys to victory for each team, and Aaron Judge is probably the key to victory for the Yankees. I mean, yeah, if he gets going, things are it's a completely different lineup, especially if Giancarlo continues to do what he's done. For the Guardians, I think it's continue. Don't rely on those big home runs. Let those happen. Put yourself in a position where you can have the 3-run homer, which means you got to get on base. Continue to have good at bats. I think we're going to see them be aggressive with stolen bases. We've seen that work against the Yankees before. Yeah, they're just going to have to play their game and continue to put themselves in position to put up crooked numbers, whether that is via the long ball or, stringing together multiple hits, whatever it is. I mean, they're going to have to score. You're not going to be able to hold the Yankees down to 2 runs a game or 3 runs a game. So they're going to have to figure out ways, and where that means, hey, get out to an early lead, put pressure on the Yankees offense, or like I said, just continue to try to get analytics, baby. Try to get guys on base and good things happen.
Okay.
Isn't it the truth of baseball? Get a bunch of guys on base, see what happens.
That is the truth of baseball. Yeah, for Cleveland, Garrett Cole pitching game 2. Hey, maybe they just beat Skubal, so they're not going to be freaked out by it. And Jose Ramirez, that guy has no problem with anyone. Same with Naylor, to be honest. Quan, that's interesting.
What are Naylor's stats against Cole? Let's see. I think I have him right here.
I'll get you on that. I do
2 for 16, 1 homer. Yeah, not good.
Oh God. I do think, and I guess I was wondering if we were going to see this in any of the DSs, but the 5 games are so tight with the off days. For Cleveland, who can give you the 4 innings when you need it, whether it's a win or a loss? Like it, can Alex Cobb put together a start? Will they let Matt Boyd go for a full start? Gavin Williams, Joey Cantillo in that bullpen. Like at some point, someone's got to choose some innings, not your A guys. Does Ben Lively come back and make the roster? I don't know. But yeah, at some point, Clase, Gaddis, and Smith, hey, maybe I'm wrong. And maybe I'll be sitting here as a sad puppy dog at some point next week, but you need a lot of outs. You need a lot of outs.
It's a time for predictions.
Oh!
NLCS. It's a 7-game set.
Right.
It's Dodgers versus Mets. Dodgers have the home field. It's 2-3-2. So 2 in LA, 3 in New York, back to 2 if necessary for the Dodgers. I am having a tough time with this one because part of me wants to just say, hey, it's the Dodgers,
right,
and don't overthink it. Like, this is a team that's built, for a deep postseason run. But damn, the Mets have that momentum. It seems like they have kind of, that little something extra working for them. And then also, like, they have a very good team. That's the secret of all this. It's not like the Pumpkin or the Song or Grimace or Hot Tua.
Hey.
It's Mark Vientos, and it's Jose Iglesias, and it's Lindor, and it's Manaea finding out that he's Cy Young. Like, they have a very damn good team. Not to mention Edwin Diaz, $100 million closer. Like, they have the recipe for it. So it's like, who do you take? Do you take the team that's just been in the postseason for the last 11 straight years, or do you take the Mets who have all the momentum? I think home field means something here. I do. I think I'm still going Dodgers now.
Yeah,
I'm still going Dodgers.
That's the funny part of the brain exercise, because it's like, the Mets are good. It's tough to wrap your head.
They're very good.
Because this is kind of the thought process. It's like, there's no way the Mets can wrap this up in 5, right? So that means you're going back to LA, and it feels like if these guys get back to LA, they're gonna find a way to figure it out. What was Kike's quote after the game? Like, we don't give a
F word, yeah.
Yeah,
we don't use that.
We don't swear on this show.
He also cup checked Gavin Lux. That was interesting. Or I don't know if that's called a cup check or a cup hump.
That was a cup hump. Yeah. I consider myself an expert in the field. That's a cup hump.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going Dodgers in 6.
You'd be shocked to find out I had a lot of people send me that Kike Hernandez, Gavin
I'm
Lux
not shocked.
cup hump. And my reply to those people was, this game chose me. God, it's I'll go Mets. Why not?
Okay.
Why not believe in anything?
I like that for us.
I think this is the purest of toss-ups. I think we're going to have – each side is going to have great World Series memories one way or the other. I don't really believe in the Mets to win. I don't really believe in the Dodgers to win. And it's not a slight at either of them. The one thing that made me really want to go Dodgers, 36-17 this year against left-handed pitching, and 3 of the 4 Dodger starters are lefties. But also, regular season just doesn't matter at this point. Like, let's be honest. And I don't know, another sick Jakey Shower thought the other day. It's hilarious. Like, the Brewers are kind of in this cursed timeline of Brewers history, and now David Stearns and the Mets have a chance to. I don't know. Little Brewers in Seattle shrapnel today.
Look out,
Thanks
some shrapnel.
for tuning in.
You're going Mets. I'm taking Dodgers. ALCS, Yankees, Guardians. 2 in the Bronx, 3 in Cleveland, 2 in the Bronx.
Do it.
I know where you're lying.
Do it. Let's just spread the board. You're an AL Central man.
I've been around Rose too much, man. Like, can they keep getting these freaking hits? Think about like their season,
Dude,
man. Like they were just so close to being eliminated. Then David Fry hits a home run off Bo Brisky.
I think Rose has been. I think he's been doing mental work on us all year.
Maybe.
David Fry, he's an all-star. David Fry
just
saved,
before that game,
he saved their season.
Before that game, he said David Fry was an all-star this year. He's not an all-star player. I was like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Boom, homer.
I'm obviously
Yanks.
taking.
I'm going Yanks.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna get the LA, New York World Series that Rob Manfred has been selling his soul for.
I am a big sports fan. I do a show, Wake and Jake, that is more all of sports, a lot of baseball. And I was questioning because, I tweeted out like this World Series is going to be a big one. We're going to have at least one of the biggest markets in the world in it. Hey, Cleveland, I obviously don't believe this because you're playing my favorite team in all of sports. But fuck everyone, man. Go out and win 4 baseball games. Like that's at the end of the day, that's none of your business. I am rooting so heavily against that.
You're picking the Guardians to win?
No, I'm picking the New York Yankees, dog. But there's going to be a lot of Guardians there's going to be a lot of Cleveland tweets on X or X on tweets or whatever it is now or social media that they're going to be mad at all the big markets, and they should be. Because in theory, that is none of their business, although your owner does have the money to go sign free agents every year.
Yes, he does.
I do want you to know that. But yeah, it's teeing up to be a great CS, and we haven't said it this episode. It's made me mad. The creepy neighbor Guardians, man. You don't know what they're up to over there.
Don't know what they're up to.
Why is there always a chainsaw on? What's he doing with those bolt cutters?
Why does my dog always bark so heavily at the guy when he sees him?
He just knows something.
Yeah.
Wait, why is that red juice leaking out of their trash bags? What is that?
Red juice.
It's a blood. I don't know.
Ask Zach about that. You have no idea about blood. Zach, on the other hand.
Zach is blood. Yeah. What's the Disturbia? Is that Shia LaBeouf with the creepy neighbor?
Is that what you were thinking of? Or are you thinking of Home Alone?
The Yankees are, classic.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf as the Yankees. The Guardians.
Wow.
All right.
Make that meme.
Thank you, guys. Thanks to Zach filling in for King Beebs. Trevor Plouffe. Whew. Get ready. Postseason's here. Subscribe and all that good stuff. We will see you Monday morning. You don't do Sundays?
No, yeah, Sunday night. Let's do it.
Okay, we'll talk about it. We'll see you guys.
Jake sucks.
YouTube probably doesn't even like the music at the end.
YouTube doesn't like music, huh? Interesting.
They don't like the sharp decline at the end. But sometimes we do our best work in this part.
Just real quick, just mention Sydney Sweeney.
Elon Musk.
Dua Lipa.